All right, everybody, welcome to Studio B. I am your host, Pastor MDH. Thank you so very much for joining us here on the set today. Remember, wherever you are watching us from right now, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, comment, get this content out to any and all of your friends because this message needs to spread across the globe. I want to share a couple things with you, man. Here we are less than 2 weeks away from the midterm elections. And if you've been watching this set for any length of time, you know I talk heavily about politics. I talk heavily about voting your conscience, not being loyal to a party, but loyal to your beliefs. And with that said, I'm back into that, but I want to talk about, some things that's kind of getting me, not frustrated. Frustrated is too big of a word, and I'm not frustrated by no stretch of the imagination. But for this podcast has now been running for about 2 years. We've got well over 100 episodes plus, and I've talked about A to Z on this platform. I've run the gamut. You think about it, I've talked about it here on this set. And one of the things that I'm really, really, really big on is the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. And that has a lot to do with my calling as a pastor and the way I use my voice to make a living and expressing my thoughts and my ideas and my concepts. I am a big, 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 big believer in the First Amendment, which is the freedom of speech. And I have been saying for some time now, even in the midst of 2020-ish, right around that time when cancel culture really became this juggernaut where people were being shelved simply because of the things in which they said. They were not given the freedom to express what they believed. Even if other people disagreed with it, they would shut them down. They would cut off livelihoods and make you pay for the things that you said. And I have long since rung the bell here on Studio B and in other platforms, telling you guys the danger of that movement for almost 2 years now. I've been telling y'all this for 2 long years, that this is something that you don't want to be involved with. The very foundation that I get to express my ideas, however wrong you may think that they are, I still have the right to express them in a free and open way. Now, freedom of speech does not mean that I can run into a crowded theater and scream fire. That's not what freedom of speech is. But freedom of speech at its essence is a freedom of expression. And that is the one thing that is unique to this particular culture in these Western United States. This is one of the things that really broke the back of Britain as we were getting our freedom back from them. It was the freedom to believe and think differently than what the masses were telling you. And for 2 years, I've been telling you guys this. For 2 years, I have been sounding the bell. I've been ringing. I've been sounding the alarm. I've been trying to shake you to say, man, it's coming. And more so from my vantage point of what I do professionally, spiritually, and otherwise, that this is going to eventually creep its way into the church as it is already doing. COVID-19 was the open door for that to happen. You're seeing this begin to happen in pulpits where pastors are being stifled by not being able to preach the whole text because the whole text is very offensive to some that may not agree with it. But in our most recent example, we have our brother Kanye West. Now, I'm gonna talk about this in a very, very diplomatic way because I find a lot of hypocrisies. With this brother, and I'm gonna fall short of saying something. Even though I'm gonna go down that road, I want you to always remember this: geniuses are never recognized in the time in which they live. They're never recognized in the time in which they live. In the time in which they live, they are always considered to be off their rocker. And you look at any genius that has donned the landscape, they are never appreciated in time. It's always after they're dead, after they're buried, decades and even centuries beyond their death. They look back at their work and says, man, he was well beyond his time. He spoke as someone who knew something that other people didn't. And when I look at Kanye West, I look at Kanye West in two regards. One, as a person that is a free thinker, one that does not go by the norm, by the rules of society. He thinks outside of the lines. He colors outside of the lines. He is a very forward thinker. He is a free thinker that will not be bound by what other people think he should be saying. I appreciate that about him. But secondly, what's going on with Kanye West should offend all of us, but especially in the black community. And I'm gonna get to this in just a second, but this should offend us because at the core of this issue is his right to say what he wants to say. Now we're gonna break this thing all the way down. Kanye West recently, the last time I saw it was last year, he was worth $4.6 billion, a billionaire, with Adidas and Balenciaga and all that other stuff that he does with this partnership with Gap and all of this different ventures that he had going on around the world. And, just a very wealthy man. Married to the career destroyer Kim Kardashian, who makes it a point to destroy any man that comes into her life. That's my own personal opinion there. But when you're looking at what has been going on with this brother for the last couple of weeks and how he has been labeled an anti-Semitic, an anti-Semite. And because of that, Adidas has dropped him, Balenciaga has dropped him, and Gap has dropped him. Now, I want you to think about this. Make no mistake about it, and anybody that knows this. Jewish people own every major news outlet, every major platform that there is. Make no mistake about it. They control the narrative of what you see and what you hear. Even on a platform like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, the money behind all of this is a Jewish person. I want you to think about what they did to Kanye. So a black person is able to say BBB, NNN, kill them all, smoke them all, AR-15, 9mm, mess with me, you die, kill, 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 sex, 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 drug, 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 and that is celebrated. That's celebrated. Nobody gets up in arms when they're talking about killing black folk. Nobody. Matter of fact, they get platinum records. They get gold awards. They get $1 million contracts when they go out there screaming, kill black people. But the minute you say anything or what can be contrived as negative towards a particular group of people, you are shut down, you are canceled, you are taken out of the mix. Now, I want you to think about this with Adidas. Anybody that has a computer, you can look at this. I preached this sermon about 4 or 5 years ago talking about Adidas. Adidas was founded by two brothers who didn't like each other. So Adidas, which is Adidas, split to make Adidas. His brother, Nasir, founded Puma. His brother was the first one to contract a black athlete by the name of Jesse Owens in the Olympics, to which the founder of Puma, the brother of Adidas, said that Jesse Owens was the fastest black monkey that he had ever saw, but that he was beneficial for pushing the product of having somebody so fast wearing his shoes. Adidas, their family, was a part of the Third Reich. This is under Hitler's regime. Adidas family literally killed Jews. I mean, literally. And at the same time now in 2022, they sit there and look at Kanye West and say, because of what he said, we're going to cancel him. Now, here's the tricky part about it that should just offend you all. We're going to cancel Kanye, but we're going to still sell his shoes for our profit. Now, you have the right to cancel anybody that you want, but you don't get the right to steal from somebody. Now, here we are in 2022 being shut down because of what we say, even if it offends somebody. Now, I've often said, You guys know I've been to Israel 3 times. It is one of my favorite places to go. It is rich in history. And one of the things that the Jewish people have put in their DNA is that the Holocaust will never happen again, ever. It will never happen again. So they make sure that their history is passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation to generation, that all generations know about the Red Sea experience. All generations know about the horrors of the Holocaust, to ensure that those things never happen again to their people. And make no mistake about it, it will never happen again, because they will ensure that it never happens again. Not so with black folks. All of the rights and all of the blood that has been spilled, all of our heroes that have died to get us to the place to where we are in 2022 is all being washed away right under our noses. And we say nothing about it. We say nothing about it. We vote party, we vote people, we vote who we like, but we do not vote policy. We do not vote for the best interests of our people. We do not vote to see our people progress. So we vote and we are loyal to demographic parties and to people and to these things, but we never vote policy. And look at where it's gotten us. Look at where it's gotten us. Black folks have been voting Democrat for the last 40, 50 years at a rate of almost 85%. In some polls, it says as high as 91. And look at our communities now. Look at our communities now. I'm not going to make this a political stance. I'm not going to do that. But what I will tell you is this. We are the only people that do not do what's best for our people. We are the only people that sell out our own people for $1. We are the only people that does that. Now, here we are when all of this stuff is going on. But as opposed to getting behind the brother who started from nothing and now is on the top, a literal billionaire, we're throwing him under the bus. Now, again, you don't have to agree with what people say. You don't have to agree with it. Literally, you can walk away. You can go find another room. All of that stuff is well within your wheelhouse. But people, if we're going to stand on the First Amendment, then you have the right to say it. You have the right to say it. And what I am saying is, especially in my arena, when I have to preach messages that are very difficult to hear, when I got to take stances that are very difficult to take, and I got to do things that the world says I shouldn't do, but I'm under a biblical commandment to do it, I understand, I know, I believe that it's eventually going to come my way. But here we are right now in 2022, and things don't look too well for us. I've asked many people this question in a very inviting way, if I can say. We have been fighting amongst ourselves for quite a long time. And I've often said this statement, and it has been met with some opposition. But the greatest hindrance to black people is not police brutality. It is not systemic racism. It is not any of that. The greatest threat to black people is black people. And it's how we look at each other. It's how we handle each other. And we are the only race, the only ethnic group that handles itself the way that we do. We talk about all of this stuff, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes of doing community work and building up our brothers and our sisters, we fall well short of it. We are quickly to cast somebody to the side because they don't agree with a particular narrative. And that is crazy. Like, if we're going to start fixing these issues that are prevalent within the black community, in the African-American community, we need to have some people that are going to sit around the table and be able to discuss things at a high level and come out with solutions that benefit the whole, not just people that are pushing their own agendas for their own pocketbooks. And here we are right now. Here we are right now. I love free thinkers, man. I'm careful to call somebody crazy. A person is not crazy because they think out here. No, I've often tell you this, and I tell my kids this all the time. If you see 99 people going one way and one person going the other way, do your best to find out what that one person knows, because he knows something that those other 99 don't. I like people that color outside of the lines. I like people that are aggressive and progressive thinkers. Those are some of the people that push the needle forward the most. And the people that have benefited this society by which all of us enjoy have been people that colored outside of the lines, who have been people when society said no, they pushed back and continued to move the needle. Those people have benefited society greatly. I'm troubled in regards to where we are right now and how we are taking this subjective look through the lens of history and not learning the lessons from our forefathers and what happened to them, because we are repeating these things in record numbers, especially in regards to our community. So when you're talking about this thing about free speech, I value free speech. I'm going to say things that you don't like, but you don't get to take away my job because you don't like it. Now, it's different if I sign a morality clause. It's different if I am speaking on behalf of something that is detrimental to the company by which I'm assuming to work for, and that stuff is written in writing, right? But it's another thing for you to take my livelihood away because you don't like me. In less than 2 weeks, you have the midterms coming up. And I'm just going to say just a couple of things about this. I'm going to say, don't be loyal to a party. Don't be loyal to a person. When you go into that voting booth, vote policy that is going to affect you. Now, hear this, not just you, but generations to follow. Your kids and your kids' kids. If you know anything about legislation, although it may be signed on a particular day, takes time before it is flushed out into society. So the ramifications of something that may go into policy may not be felt for 5, 10, 15 years down the road. You have to know the issues that are affecting you, and you have to know them greatly. You've got to be in tune. If you are loyal to the Democratic Party, if you are loyal to the Republican Party, don't be loyal to a party. Don't be loyal to a person. Be loyal to policy. Understand what the policy is that you're voting for. Understand who the person represents. Understand the lobbyists behind the person that you're voting for, because the lobbyists are going to get what they are paying for. Understand that before you go into that voting booth on November the 8th. We're going to have a couple of things that are going to be coming up right before that election. It's going to be a big one. You got 32 governorships that are up for grabs. You got the House of Representatives. You have the Senate, which is not going to move too much because there's only going to be 4 seats that are going to be up for grabs. You got a lot of stuff going on in this midterm. You got judges, you got circuit court judges, you got appellate court judges. You got all of these things on the ballot right now. You got sheriffs, you got lieutenant governors. You got all of these things that are on the ballot right now. And you need to know what these people believe before you go in there and give your valuable vote to them when they don't work for your vote. They just expect it. And black folks, for too long a time, Democrats have just banked on the fact that black folks are going to vote for them. And black folks haven't got nothing. You haven't got nothing. Go in there and vote policy. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. The Johnson rule prohibits me from doing that as a pastor. However, do your research. Do your research. Do your research. And don't be loyal to a party or to a person, but be loyal to policy. Everybody, there's some big changes coming up. Some stuff that I really can't speak on right now, but I want to just dangle the bait out there. There's some big changes that are coming up in regards to Pastor Holman, Studio B, everything. Some big stuff coming down the pipes here in the next few months, as I believe that God has given us a strong platform by which we are going to now mash the gas. I've been limited in how I can push Studio B simply because I got my hand in so many different things. Right now, the time, we're all given the same 24 hours a day, but I believe God has given me some people now to where I can push some assignments over to them, give them the platform of Studio B and allow them to expand it. I'll still be hosting it, of course, but doing some more creative things with this platform that I believe is reaching a whole lot of people. So I want you to be in prayer about that as we move forward in this near future to do some different things that God has laid up on my heart. But today was going to be a short one. I just wanted to express that because I'm deeply concerned about some things that are going on in our nation right now and even in around our world. And I'm tired of people just burying their head in the sand and not saying anything about it. I mean, if you're gonna be about that life, be about that life. Speak up for what's right. When you see injustice happening, speak up about it. Yeah, you're going to be hated for. Yeah, you're going to be persecuted and all that stuff is going to be true. But at least you can go to bed at night with a clear conscience. So everybody, I want to thank you for joining us here on the set of Studio B. It's going to be a quick one today. Hey, remember, like, follow, subscribe, comment, get all up in there. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how this podcast is blessing you, the information that is coming across. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, comment, get it out there, everybody, so that we can get this thing to the place to where it needs to be. I know they're coming from me, but we well prepared for the fight. Remember, be empowered, be informed, Studio B.